Hey, everybody. You're back with Dave and Ed, and this is To the Death Podcast.
Today, we're excited to interview Roberto Jimenez. He is a multiple-time world champion and future black belt world champion.
He is not only future black belt world champion, he is the future. That's right. He is the future. You'll see or hear when he starts talking, his mindset, he just sets himself way apart by the way that he's thinking already at such a young age.
He is only 20 years old. That is half your age, Dave, and he's twice as smart.
I don't know if I agree with that, but yeah, he definitely is twice as smart.
So today we start off with tickles, and we touch on
He likes tickles, just for the record. He tried to tickle me, and we weren't even rolling.
Don't say that. He didn't do that. Why? So we talked with him not just about silly things. We talked to him about meditation, he had a mental coach. I thought that was very interesting.
He was very honest and humble in this interview, and I think that there was some really enlightening facts about training and meditation and mental preparation.
We did this interview in Fabio Clemente's gym in Manhattan, New York City.
That's right, and his daughter Veta was there, and she was the one that allowed us to come into the gym to record this episode, so we wanted to thank her personally, so thank you.
And hopefully in the future we could have her on.
I don't know, do you think she'd be willing to speak with us?
Not you. This is the way you have. If she listens to the Emily episode, she will not want to
Why?
talk to you. Because you disagree with everything women say.
Listen, I am the yin to their yang, all right? That's better than me always saying opposites attract. I like yin and yang. I am the yin to their yang.
You know what I would
love? Is it yin and yang or yin and yang?
All right, it's enough. When we see her, hopefully we can get on the mats with her and she could beat the hell out of you.
I've already trained with her.
I know, but I want to watch it.
You could have watched it if you weren't a coward and you didn't run away when we trained with
I'm not a coward. We talk about this on the episode as well.
That's right. It's very enlightening for everyone listening to see Ed's true colors.
And
yellow. He's yellow.
Stop with the dad jokes. That's enough.
But I'm having fun here, Ed. Isn't that the goal?
Kind of, but also, on a more serious note, this podcast was mostly about growing the community on a worldwide scale, which we obviously can't do, but our guest, Roberto, that is his goal for his life, is to spread jiu-jitsu worldwide.
Yeah, very impressive mentality that he has, and I look forward to everything that he's going to do for the jiu-jitsu community in the future. I also want to congratulate him on a fantastic weekend at Third Coast Grappling. He did not win, but he had a spectacular, I don't know, what's it called?
Just performance.
Performance. Thank you, Ed.
He goes out there and he did what he said in this podcast is he goes to finish.
And finish he did.
And he's great, and even the grades lose sometimes, which is fine because there's more and more tournaments, and he is going to end up on top because he hasn't even reached his full potential yet. He's just getting started.
Can you imagine that? Him at his full potential? Oh, man. I'm scared. I thank God I don't have to compete with him, ever.
You don't have to compete with anybody. You're a loser.
I'm not a loser. I'm going to compete, but he won't be in my division. That'll never happen.
All right, so I hope you guys enjoy. This is To the Death Podcast.
Episode 9. Go. No, you bring it up. I forgot what we were doing.
So, Roberto, we're here with you at Fabio Clemente's gym in New York City, and we just showed you our tickle clip. What do you think about tickling in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu?
Man, don't tickle.
Is it legal? Do you know if it's legal?
I'm not 100% sure on this one, but out of morality, I feel like maybe don't tickle in the middle of the match. If you do, maybe the thing that would slide by was your chin putting pressure. And if you're ticklish and you get tickled, then that's one thing.
Tickle with your chin. So do you grow whiskers for this then? Would that help with the tickling, you think?
I've been growing out my beard, so maybe this was going to help when I put pressure now.
All right. Well, let us know. Try it out and let us know.
What about rolling with kids? Kids, they play dirty games. That's when I learned about tickling. This kid used to tickle me all the time when we used to train.
That's a tough one, man. The kids, you got to let them think that they're beating you up so they get the confidence. And if they start tickling you...
You tickle them back.
Tickle him back, I guess.
I was showing Emmett. He asked me specifically. He goes, "Dad, can you show me X guard?" So I showed him X guard and I showed him single leg X, and he put me in single leg X, and I thought he was being serious, and he just locked onto my leg and grabbed my foot, smiled at me, and just started tickling. And I was like, "You little punk," because he was locked on. I couldn't get him off.
Yeah, man, he knows the secrets.
Now, you said that you were bullied as an adult, or maybe that you felt a little bit of bullying as an adult. What was that like?
It's not so much it's not the same. It's more like you can feel it. If once you felt that as a kid, it kind of stays with you. It's kind of one of the fires that I have when I compete. I don't think it's good to let emotions control you whenever you're in a fight, because then you don't think logically. But you can channel that energy and use it as a fire to fuel yourself. When I felt it as an adult, it wasn't something that I really give so much attention to, because I've been through it before. And it's something in the subtle world. You don't have to really dwell so much in it for you to sense it. I believe a lot in energy. There's strength to word, a meaning behind everything. So whenever I felt it as an adult, it was more of a like, oh, well, that's disappointing that exists at this level that I am in as a pro athlete, or trying to be a pro athlete, because the sport that we so much love, jiu-jitsu, has the capability of being, I believe, one of the greatest sports in the world. But greed and selfishness and ego honestly gets in the way of the sport growing and being able to get to where it can be.
Absolutely. A lot of that, like you're saying, is you can deal with it with perspective. You have a lot of different perspectives based on your life, and you could use that to help. I've seen on a lot of podcasts, you have a very positive mentality towards even these negative topics. And I think, is that a way that you kind of combat these negative issues, by staying so positive?
Yeah, man. I feel like everything you take into your life, whether it be music, food, the podcast you listen to, everything affects you. So you only have such limited amount of time on this earth, and the more in tune you are with that, the more you'll realize that it's very important what information you take in. So for me, at 20 years old, I can say that I'm happy that I was able to find my own point view in things, and also kind of find a more independent source of information. I never really felt I didn't feel the vibe with school. I never liked school. I was able to get along with it, do somewhat good up until middle high school, because in Ecuador you have a more complex complex school system, because I don't know, man. I was able to I was privileged enough to go to a private school in Ecuador. So I went from having a pretty good life in Ecuador to coming to the U.S. and my parents starting off from nothing. We lived in an apartment. We went through the food stamps. We went through everything. We climbed the ladder. But I'm sorry, I kind of lost track in the
we're talking about perspective and how you use these perspectives, but instead of being a victim, use them in a positive way to advance yourself instead of taking on excuses and stuff.
Right. That's where I was trying to aim at. I've been able to see all angles of life throughout my personal life. And I've been able to live in a privileged state. I've been able to be the person that doesn't have any opportunity really, coming into a new country with no understanding of the language and the culture. And I've been able to just make my own life, my own path in life. I think it's not like you mean to be like this, or like a certain way that might not be so fulfilling to you. It's just what you've been taught, and you don't know any better, and that's understandable. I feel like I've been in that position as well, but just personal experiences in my life have shown me two different points of view in every situation, where I can say like, no, I don't accept this. I want to learn this instead. And just seeing how that works over and over, and seeing the result be positive for someone who I honestly never saw anything positive come out once I left Ecuador. My life in Ecuador was going to the beach on the weekends, eating at home. My nanny took me from jiu-jitsu to tennis, and man, I had no complaints living in Ecuador. I was so happy. I had friends. I was able to communicate with my friends, my family. I was able to see my grandparents on a daily basis, and then I had a full 360 coming to the U.S. at around 8 years old, and being able to see that I wasn't alone, seeing other kids also that are coming from other countries, and seeing kids that are from here, having two different ways of interacting with those kids that are immigrants. And yeah, it kind of formed my view on life, on not accepting everything that's first handed to you. Don't take the first option that's given to you. Maybe just look over it and find your truth to it. Find the thing that you can relate the most, that makes you satisfied. And in the end, you have to look for truth, because in my opinion, like me, I wouldn't feel happy winning worlds, for example, by points or by advantages. I would feel kind of depressed inside. I would feel really sad inside. If I was to win a worlds like that, it would be the equivalent of just going by and accepting my situation. Like, if that makes sense. Like, okay, this is, I want to get here, so this is what I have to do, right? But are you happy with that?
So you're continuing to strive for the next level.
Yes, anything that I do in life, I'm trying to do the things that make me satisfied with what I'm doing. I'm happy with the decisions that I'm making, so that I don't have to go back 20 years in the past and say, wow, I should have done this. I had the opportunity to make something that's my own, and I'm happy with that decision. I don't want to have that regret in life, because like I said, you only have one shot at this, and the more understanding of the short time you have for that, the better, you know.
So now, from when you arrived around 8 years old, you said, to now, would you say that you're pretty satisfied with the path that you've taken?
Most definitely. I'm happy with everything that's happened, whether it was positive or negative. I've been able to learn from it, and I'm at a point right now where I'm able to say that I've been able to meet my heroes, and I've been able to also represent my family. And man, at this point in life, I'm able to represent my family independently, which I think is different. It feels like I'm truly free, honestly. I'm able to say what I feel like, what I believe in, and I don't have anything to really hold me back. You know, I feel like I could say this under anything, you know, but it has a different feel to it. You can't copy. Like Bob Marley said one time, many try to copy it, but it has a different feel, a different energy to it when you have that understanding that you are kind of free to the chains of somebody else telling you what to do or what you can or cannot do. I believe in that strongly. It doesn't mean that you have to do everything by yourself. You know, I every time I make a big decision in life now, I'm trying to think of everything that's happened in my life. My experiences with jiu-jitsu, my experiences outside of jiu-jitsu. Lucas Lepre told me, nobody walks alone. And I learned from my girlfriend, you can't take advice full on. You know, if you put people on a pedestal, you're bound to be let down, because everybody's human. You can't expect everybody to be like Jesus Christ, you know, whether believe in it or not. The story, the essence of it is that this man was essence of God. So he was pure. You know, when you think of when I was when I was a little bit younger, I'm still young, but when I was a little bit younger, I would put these heroes of mine on a pedestal. Like, man, they have made all the right decisions in life. They are where they are because they did it right, you know. But that doesn't mean that the way that they did it is gonna specifically be the way that I have to do it, you know.
But you're saying everybody has their own unique path that they have to walk upon, and you use the adversity that you're going through to kind of build your character. I feel like everything you're saying is you're young, you're 20. Yeah. I did not have that perspective at 20. It's very impressive that you kind of think like this. Does that, people tell you that don't know you, like, how old are you? You're like 30? Or do people tell you are older than you are?
Yeah, I've been
wise beyond your years.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird, but when I was younger, I used to think I was born in the wrong era. You know, I feel like my music taste can relate to that, and that also goes to where I've been able to find resource and information as well. But yeah, I've had people tell me that I'm a little wise beyond my.
I have people tell me I look older, not because I'm wise. How old do you think I look? If you had to guess, you won't hurt my feelings.
Don't worry. Yeah, you will not hurt his feelings. Just give a nice rough estimate.
Late 20s.
Thank you.
Whoa.
See? Thank you.
He's just trying to make you. I talked to him about this beforehand. Yeah, I said, don't make Ed feel bad. I want
to be 31 in a couple weeks, but people at his gym are telling me that I look 40 years old.
Nobody believes
that. My feelings.
I've had people actually tell me that they would like to be on the podcast, but before that happens, they want to see his license because they don't believe him. I'm not kidding. Yeah, so he's young, fairly young. I'm trying to motivate him to better himself, to compete more, to train more. So what would you say to somebody like him? He has great potential. He's already very good, but what do you think I could do to motivate him?
Before you know, we are both brown belts for a long time. We've been 4-year brown belts.
I'm 10 years older than him.
He's 10 years old. He likes to make excuses. Like you already said, you don't like excuses.
That's not an excuse.
All right, let's give him a little backstory, right?
Right.
So we had have a challenge match. We're going to challenge each other in a super fight, and I'm going to dominate him in front of his family. And he is already making excuses about how if I win, it's because I'm 10 years younger.
I didn't
I'm 10
say
pounds
that.
heavier.
You would, yeah. Well, he's fatter
Yes,
too.
he's agreeing.
But
with
now,
me.
so listen, when you came to the school, you trained with everybody, which was great. Not everyone that does a seminar is willing to roll with everyone. You rolled with everybody, but did you notice who bolted, who took off right out the door as soon as the seminar was
I
over?
didn't want to waste your time. A roll with me is a waste of time for you. You are better than that. I do not. He wastes your time. What a waste of a
Yeah, it was. Yeah. I've never felt so far behind someone, to be honest.
I wasn't able to catch you for that one, but man, don't be scared. You know, it's up to you. Nobody's well, in this occasion, it seems like you are being a little bit forced or like pushed to it, but you know that's only because he cares. You know,
He does care.
I do.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm trying to get him trained.
Yeah.
So now we're going to start a little video series in the future, all right? And the video series is going to be called Tap Ed. Anyone that trains with Ed knows he's extremely difficult to tap. While we were waiting, he said that he thinks he can go around with you and you wouldn't tap him.
Very short round. Maybe.
What do you say to that? Because like I said, I've never felt so far behind anyone.
How do
And
you
I've
feel-
rolled with
all right,
some big
You've
names.
probably rolled with people that like really never want to tap ever. How do you deal with these people that are they're not even trying to like attack at all. They're only defending super turtle. Like, how do you deal with these kind of people? Do you
I'm
really
guessing-
try to get them?
I'm guessing he taps them.
when I was younger, when I was like 14, 13, I would get real desperate and like frustrated. But nowadays, I try to do. Have you ever seen the video of a Galval dancing on the guy's backs?
I haven't seen that.
I didn't see that.
I didn't see
Oh my God.
So I do believe, I'm not sure, but I believe that guy was a judo black belt that said, oh, I can do this too. And Gaval took that personal. So he kind of like mopped the floor with him. I'm saying I'm going to try to do that.
Embarrass me.
If you just, no. If you just defend, I'm going to do some cool coordinated moves on your back.
He's
That's what
gonna
I'm
be doing
doing.
handstands on you.
Start spanking me like Randy Couture did to what's his name in UFC.
I don't think that's what he's going to do. No. But I'm pretty sure that it's not going to come to that. Don't worry about it, Ed.
Well, Dave can never ever tap me. He's never tapped me in the past 10 years.
In 10 years. I haven't tapped him in 10
now he
years.
thinks
I
he's
can
gonna
beat him
beat
on
me.
points.
You can't beat me on points
I
either.
beat you on points the other day.
The other day I tapped you.
But I beat you on points before that.
What matters, the points or the tap? He's going for the tap.
He's
Because
going for the
If they
tap,
have
yeah.
20 points and he taps him, who wins?
Our challenge match is IBJJF rules.
And if I tap you, I win.
I'll take
That's
that
right.
challenge. I'll try to tap you.
See, look at that. Roberto wants to take the challenge.
He just wants to see
I'm
me get
betting
dominated.
money
That's
on
what he
you,
wants.
so it's fine. I'm betting
Of
on you,
course.
Roberto.
I'll try my best, but if that turtle guard's too hard, then I'm going to do some maneuvers on it.
That's fantastic. Well, do you ever have distractions, stuff that distracts you from keeping you off the mats? That's a big deal for me. I get very easily distracted.
By ice cream.
Yeah, ice cream's a big one. Once I eat a whole tub of ice cream, I don't want to move. I just kind of sit where I am. We're not
Yeah.
training that day.
I feel like if anyone who eats a tub of ice cream doesn't want to do anything.
So you're not eating any tubs of ice cream?
I'm not going to say I'm not, but
Listen,
I coordinate when I eat them.
After training, after you worked hard.
I
Yeah.
saw your picture. I didn't see one this year, but I saw your picture last year. It was like right after I left Lepre, and you had your birthday. You had how many pizza pies were there?
Oh, man.
You ate all those pizza pies during Worlds Camp.
Yep.
So
And you can see I didn't do that well that Worlds.
there's a correlation then. Okay, all
Most
right.
definitely. I believe I was in all honesty, I do believe that I felt a little overconfident for that Worlds, and I thought, I did it at purple belt. Brown is just a belt between black and purple, so can't be that much different. I didn't take into account the fact that for that purple belt title, I did everything I could. I took care of my diet. I took care of my how do you say, my mental state.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about the mental. You talk a lot about how the mental part of it is just as hard as the physical part. Do you do any kind of like things like meditation to kind of combat that?
Or
Yeah.
talk to a mental coach.
I was talking to a mental coach during October of 2019, prior to September, prior to Nogi Pants. And I felt like that helped me boost my mental game up a lot. But I honestly think that what I learned from him is that everything you take into consideration, everything that you take into your mind, if it affects you, in all aspects of life. If you're, I guess, close-minded or turn a blind eye to certain things, obviously you're not going to invest your energy into that. So it means that you're not going to acknowledge it, and therefore it's not in your conscious, right? Doesn't make it any more realistic and part of reality. It's not something that you put into your mind. That can go positive and negatively. I feel like as an athlete, I have to take into consideration the person that I'm going to fight, the people that I might be able to fight, but also not drown in that information. So I think it's important to meditate for yourself, whether you're an athlete or not. I think it's good to take a minute or an hour if you have the time to just zone out. Don't think about anything. Just think about you being in that moment, the fact that you're alive, the fact that you're breathing. When you sink your mind to the fact that you're breathing, and you find I've been able to find that if you tune in deep enough, you can actually find a rhythm to the breath of life. Because in the end, we are just one planet. We are sort of one organism. If one country shuts down, and like a major country shuts down, it's going to affect everyone. So we are kind of one organism in the aspect that we have to know how to coexist with each other, I believe. But when you're meditating, you feel that. You feel that you are everything and you are nothing at the same time. And I think it's good to tap into that as much as you can. And motivational speeches help me out a lot. Not only to motivate myself to like work out, for example. I don't enjoy working out that much as I should, or as I would like to, but it's something I have to do to get to the level that I want to be at. And jiu-jitsu is already something that I have no problem with. I like to drill. I like to study technique. I like to train. It's honestly making time to not burn that fire out. In reality, in honesty, I don't want that fire to burn out. But realistically, if I invest too much time into that one aspect of life, it might burn out quick. So I'm noticing that the older I get, that I need to know how to coordinate my energy to the proper things that I want to manifest in life. So I think motivational speeches help me to motivate myself to work out. Meditation helps me to be more in tune with myself whenever I'm about to fight. And also, I take it, I honestly take it personal when there's problems in the world, and I try to channel that into my fights. I feel like, for example, throughout this whole process, that's the George Floyd, the corona, everything that's happened, nobody's really acknowledged it as they should, I think, in the jiu-jitsu community. We have now more than ever the opportunity to show that it is something important to know how to defend yourself, and it is important to know that you have that security in knowing that you can defend yourself. It gives you a different mentality into how you view life as well, and how you view certain situations. And if we can bring that to the majority of the population, I feel like it could have a big change in how people react day to day with each other and with their personal things going through life.
That's a very perfect point, because that's the whole reason we started this podcast, is to bring our local community and then start to branch out into bigger and get as many people to do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu as possible.
Yeah.
So
you have to unite your community first before you can get it out to everybody else. Right. And we have a very divided community in Jiu-Jitsu. And like I said, man, I grew up in Jiu-Jitsu, and I've been blessed enough to be able to meet my heroes. And at the same time, it feels like we're all kind of divided. It's my team. It's mine. Like, it's our Jiu-Jitsu,
Right. Take the ego out of it, and we're a collective instead of just, if you focus on, I got to win worlds it's not going to make things better unless you bring positivity to it and try to spread. Exactly.
The more I get into the professional aspect of the sport, and the reality is that I want to give a message out. I don't want to just win titles to win titles. I want to be able to give a good message for the youth. The same way that these heroes affected me to want to go into jiu-jitsu, I'm positive that I'm doing this to others, and that current athletes are doing the same. There's always a new wave of generation coming in. It's inevitable. And if you can make that generation more conscious of not only how they can make an impact on their lives through jiu-jitsu, but also in the world, then that's beautiful. I feel like jiu-jitsu goes hand in hand with sports like surf, rock climbing, martial arts in general, skating, and more independent sports that have a certain vibe to it that make you feel like, I have a little more control of my life than I did before I started this. And that can affect you all aspects of your life. You know, it's affected me in all aspects of my life.
Right. So now you're gaining more. The more you win, the more influence you have over the sport, the more responsibility that comes upon you, the more eyes, the more people asking questions, questioning what you're doing on the mat, questioning what you're doing off the mat.
Mhm.
So have you ever thought about, I know you think about finishing, you want to finish because it's exciting, get more eyes on jiu-jitsu. Don't you think if the competition's more enjoyable to watch, it's better for the sport overall?
Yeah, I think we have to really change the way you view the fight whenever you're competing. If you're competing, like I said, I would not be happy with myself if I won a world title out of just points and advantages. You know, if you're competing to win and that's all you're thriving for in life, I want to win that world championship. I want to win that ADCC championship. I want to win whatever event that's coming up that might be able to change my life in my view. Man, give it all. The samurais are the original jiu-jitsu, and they fought life or death. If you don't have to, we're blessed enough that we're not fighting for life or death. We're not gladiators, you know. Even the MMA aspect, they're able to restrain themselves from killing each other.
Yeah, you live to fight another day.
Exactly. If you can fight with the mentality of a samurai, though, I'm ready to die. That you can bring a whole new level to of jiu-jitsu. You can be more entertaining. You can be you're literally fighting instead of just performing.
So not everyone, I wish that everyone would do that, but not everyone is willing to take on that mentality. So just something that Ed has come up with is just a couple of different rules or new points systems for jiu-jitsu that we just wanted to bounce off you right now. So Ed, go ahead. This one I think you're going to like. This one is especially made
for you. This is
for
your
you.
rule. This is the Roberto rule. We can name it.
Let's check it out.
You take the back, right? You have a seatbelt grip, hip to hip, chest to back. Each hook is 2 points. So you get one hook, 2 points. You get the other hook, 2 points.
That way, instead of someone just fighting off that last hook and now you have no points, you can at least get 2 points on the board. Chest to back, hip to hip.
Chest to back, hip to hip.
Because you know you're very dangerous still there. If you have a seatbelt and even one, the bottom hook in, you can still choke without this hook. So I think it's still a valuable hook. You put it in 3 seconds, you have it, but you can't go back and forth to rack up points. But as soon as you get the hook, then you complete the back.
Right.
I don't think he's liking it.
He likes to just finish. He's like, if I get on the back, I'm going to finish. So it's not a big deal.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Right, you're going for the sub.
Yes, but if you're playing points, I guess it would be nice to call that kind of position an advantage. I would say that it would be better to have an advantage for maybe 1 point, because I don't really agree so much with advantages.
You're against
we
advantages.
We got a point though.
Yeah.
See, I knew I liked him, but I'm not against advantages. I just like that one rule set. You can't no slip of the tongue with Ed. He will hold you. You're not allowed to change your opinion ever. It doesn't matter if you made a mistake when you said something. All right, he's going to hold you to it. I said one time I liked Grappling Industries, no advantages. I like it. But the main reason I liked it was round robin.
Have you ever thought about any rules that you would like, any innovative rules that you'd like to see changed to make it a little more active, a little more, instead of there's a lot of stalling tactics in a lot of different areas.
Yeah. I think that we should look at wrestling and judo, how the foundation of kind of the point system in jiu-jitsu, but I think they try to make it more diverse than it should be. It falls under the same branch. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure that judo is just a branch of jiu-jitsu. If you see judo, it looks very similar to jiu-jitsu no-gi, and wrestling looks very similar to jiu-jitsu no-gi, just no butt scooting. There's a lot of stalling rules in wrestling. You can't really stay still.
You can't go backwards at all.
That's a big one Ed's pushing for.
I
Same rule in jiu-jitsu. If you back up, penalty point.
Yeah, I think that's a good point of view. You should be able to edit the rules to where they force the athlete to fight kind of for their lives. When I did wrestling when I was younger in high school, I felt like it was so much different than jiu-jitsu. I didn't like it at the moment, but once I left wrestling, I was like, man, this is with a couple of things in life. I left Texas and I took it for granted for the fact that it was open space. Now I live in Vegas. I love Vegas, but it's desert and it's kind of depressing when you first move there. But what I'm saying is with wrestling, I took it for granted. And when I left wrestling, I was like, man, this helped. This actually evolved my game. I'm able to take down now. I don't only have to pull guard. I feel more confident on my feet, and I feel like it's actually helped my passing as well. So that made me more of an aggressive fighter in the technical aspect. And if you can have that experience if you can have that mentality with most athletes in the jiu-jitsu who are the leaders of jiu-jitsu, it would change the sport. You know, I'm not saying that my mentality is the right way. It can be your mentality. You know, you're a guard player, go for the attacks. You know, I'm a judo player, go for the judo and maybe look for some flying submissions. Find every aspect that you can be entertaining and also kind of be conscious of the fact that if you're at that level, you're not only fighting for yourself anymore, you're fighting for the image of the sport. If you love the sport and that's what you do every day for the rest of your life, then you should be aiming to get the sport as high as possible, not only for yourself, you know. It's not only to make money, because if you're only making money for yourself, then what's the point, really? What's the point of anything? If you have enough to sustain yourself, sustain your family, and help others, and then help your group of friends, you have your dreams made out, man, there's no reason why not to be able to help your community and then your peers.
Such a great mentality, it really is. And once again, that just goes to wise beyond your years. Because we were talking about competition and making competition more exciting, I'm going to touch on something a little bit here. How do you feel about closeouts?
Man, I don't like it, especially whenever you're in a big team. You're prone to the possibility that you have to close out a division or give the fight to somebody that you might not even train with. You know, I don't agree with that at all.
So now I've seen you many times where you have closed out with Giancarlo.
Mm-hmm.
And now that you have left Alliance, what are your plans when you guys meet up in the future? He's not a black belt yet. I don't know if you guys are going to be in the same weight class in the future, but have you spoke about that? Do you know what your plans are? Are you going to fight?
We haven't spoken about it, but I feel like with Giancarlo is more of a friendship, and we've only been able to close out in the opens, which I see more of like local tournaments at this point in our career. So, man, if it comes down to a major title, I'm sure we'll discuss it, but in reality, I feel like we'll probably fight. You know, I don't think, in my point of view, I don't think it would have mattered team or no team. If I close out a division like a Open, like a New York Open or a Vegas Open, it's like kind of a small tournament. It was more for training and for experience, and I'd be okay with closing a division there. But when it comes to ADCC or Worlds or those are the main ones. But any major title,
it's a way for you to kind of cement your legacy, put on a show,
exactly.
Really elevate the sport. That's what elevates it. When you see it close out during World's Finals, it's so anticlimactic.
Yeah, you wanna fight for your dreams. You know, my friend has his dreams and I have my dreams. But in the end of the day, we are in the sport where we have to fight for our dreams. And if it comes down to a major title or a major tournament, I'm sure that we'll hug it out before, after, and give our best. You know, I'm willing to die for my dreams, and I'm sure he is too. So
I would probably say he's willing to do the same.
Yeah, so we can give a good show, a good battle, and really represent jiu-jitsu.
Very good. That's cool. What are your plans for your gym now? Are you guys planning on growing and maybe having affiliates?
We weren't planning at all on this. We were hoping just to be our own independent team. If you want to join, you can join, you know? Like there's no pressure on our part. We don't want to have a lot of affiliates. We want to have more of a family. You know, the way I was pointing it out the other day is everything falls into place and everything happens for a reason. The people that have come to us out of they want to be part of something new. And I think what we're trying to represent is a community, more of a family that's not focused on winning titles, is not focused on being the best in the world. You know, we want to be the best that we can be, the best individuals in our personal lives. And if that can help people, then that can help people. And we're not looking for affiliates. If you want to be part of the team, you have to talk to my dad. He's the head of the team. He's the head leader. And it's kind of like a filtration system, a little bit of understanding what's your purpose. Why do you want to be part of our team? You know, what do you have to benefit from us? Because I just want to train. I want to focus on my teammates, which are in Vegas and Vedas Academy in New York. And Johnny Tama is my main teammate right now. That's our team. Me, Johnny Tama, and Ariel Pereira, who's an MMA fighter. So, yeah, man, I really don't see anything besides the people who have joined already. They have an understanding that we're trying to fight the norm in jiu-jitsu, which is you have a big affiliations, you have more affiliations and more affiliations, and you're pocketing all the money for greed. You know, I feel like I grew up in a very conscious household where they told me things the way that they are. And we do the same thing to our kids in the academy. We tell them, look, if you want to do this, you better be ready to like sacrifice some part of your life because it's not easy. And if you think it's easy, then you better put it to the test and show us that you think it's easy. You know, we believe in roots and true roots. You know, we don't have to follow the origins of how the sport evolved, but we believe in the roots of life, which means that we understand that we're here for a period of time. And we want to give as best as possible our energy to help grow our little community. And if that can affect that in a good way throughout the whole community, then let it be. But we're not focused on growing our numbers in the hundreds and the tenses of academy. You know, if we can have a location here in Vegas, in Guatemala, where there's barely any jiu-jitsu, in Chile, where there's barely any jiu-jitsu, in Argentina, in Ecuador, in Philippines. You know, I feel like this is what we're aiming for, to help the jiu-jitsu communities that don't have somebody who cares for them. You go to this country, they opened their doors for you. They pay you an insane amount of money for you to teach them jiu-jitsu, and then you don't see them again until they are willing to pay you that amount of money again. I don't think that's right. I've been able to travel the whole world in the last two years, coast to coast, from Philippines to Japan to Korea to Abu Dhabi to Colombia to Mexico, everywhere. I feel blessed, and I feel like I've been able to see into the world of jiu-jitsu in other parts of the world. And man, they're hungry. They're hungry for jiu-jitsu, and they're hungry for people to help them. And I believe jiu-jitsu can help anyone. If you don't have enough money to afford a gi, teach them no gi. Teach the kids that don't have anything no gi. Maybe they can fight between, wrestle between each other, and that's an outlet for them to keep doing something positive while they don't have any other opportunities in life. Who knows, you know? I feel like this is my view and my kind of dream and mission outside of competition. I want to be able to help people with the art that has helped me in life. And that's our goal, I think, in Studio 76.
That's fantastic. So you're talking a lot about how in competition you could be exciting and you could put on a show for people, but do you ever think about advancing jiu-jitsu through technique as well? I know you have taking the back series where you have your own kind of twist on it. Do you ever think about coming up with new moves on your own or push technique that way?
Yeah, I'm trying to dissect. I believe when I was younger, I was able to kind of come up with techniques a little bit better, because it was just me and my dad and in our group, in our academy. The camps that I've done, I started doing camps at 16. And 2016, for example, I did 2 camps, each 2 weeks long. I paid for everything myself. My parents said, if you want to do this, you have to pay for yourself. That's how they raised me. I got to do those camps at Lucas's, and it was a dream come true. I was able to learn how professionals train, and I got to do that a handful of times throughout the next 3 years. I feel like I had a more understanding of how to develop my own kind of techniques, and then I went in search of knowledge. But I came to the conclusion that in the end, nobody walks alone, and I'm thankful for everybody that's helped me evolve. But I think that I'm getting to the point where the best way for me to learn is to really just trust in myself and kind of dissect techniques with my dad, dissect techniques with my friend Tama. I'm very excited to be able to make new techniques or evolve them, because in the end, it's just motivation from other sources.
Right. So somebody that you went against, Keenan Cornelius, he's got his own lapel guard system that he's kind of developed. What do you think about his system that he has? Do you work on his kind of stuff and see what you could do with it?
I honestly don't check anybody else's online platform.
Right. You don't watch. You're not big into like DVD series. Or...
I like the DVD series of Danaher.
Oh, Danaher for sure.
Yeah. Lucas is passing. Gordon's passing as well in the Nogi. Those are the only ones that I've really seen personally throughout the last couple of years, and they've helped me a lot. But I just don't. I try to learn digitally. It just doesn't stick with me. I feel like the best way for me to learn is really have a hand-on-hand experience, and then kind of find my way of viewing it because I've found that I cannot learn the same as others. I try to copy the technique step by step, and I just don't feel it. It doesn't feel natural. And that's one thing I feel like when the technique flows and it feels natural to me, that's when I know, okay, this technique's going to work at a tournament. No, you're good.
I think that exactly what you're doing is probably the right thing considering how well you're doing.
Well, a lot of the guys that we've talked to, I've asked them about Keenan's system because it's so new and unique, but it's not really in all the rooms yet. So if you're not seeing it in your room, it's kind of like, all right, why am I really working on this so far? Like even my own instructor, Yanni, he's not really keen on doing the whole lapel, squid, worm guard because it's not really in the gym yet. But I kind of think that it might become a bigger part as the years go on, and then maybe you'll take a look into it more.
Yeah, I was actually talking about this earlier this week at home. I don't like the worm guard, and I didn't like leg lock, but like other things in life that I didn't like jiu-jitsu at one point. There was a point in my life where I hated jiu-jitsu. I was the kid that would hide in the bathroom and would not come out until they called my dad and told him, "Hey, your kid just
Kid's
passed
in the bathroom again.
Exactly.
He locked the door.
Yep.
Who's got the key?"
That was me. So taking that into consideration, I always use that live experience to be able to like, okay, look at what's happening right now. Lapel is overwhelming in jiu-jitsu and the gi, so it's 50-50. Leg logs in wrestling are taking over in the no-gi aspect. You can't ignore that. What does that mean? You're just gonna forget about it? No, you have to find your way of understanding it. You have to find your truth to it. How do you solve this problem? You don't back down from it. You you keep going forward, you know? Like I said, it's hard for me to learn 100% the way that other people show it. I feel like whenever I dissect the technique myself and I'm like, okay, I take into consideration with a grain of salt the advice that I've had from other people. But the same way that I would not be happy winning a world title by points and advantages, I wouldn't be happy calling this technique, I guess. I don't even feel all right saying that I can invent the technique. I feel like you're just modifying it. And the truth is that you're modifying the technique. If anybody invented technique is way back in the day in the 1800s, 1900s. And right now, obviously, we're inventing technique. I'm not saying that we're not. I mean, I just did. But I'm just
Ed's going to hold you to that for the rest of your life. Okay? Just be warned.
No, but I
No, I see what you're saying. So you're saying that perspectives can change. Originally, your perspective was jiu-jitsu is the worst thing ever. I don't want to do this. But eventually, over time, you come to realize maybe it's good for you.
Yeah.
And leg locks is kind of a similar. You said you went to Danaher. Now you're really focusing on legs now. And me personally, I have to do the same thing you're doing. I've been pushing away from legs for a long time. Like, I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to deal with it. But now these guys are getting so technical, so tight. They're not just trying to yank on it. They're really controlling the position.
Yeah.
And it's getting very, very technical. So it forces you to kind of go into it.
So the future of jiu-jitsu, do you see lapel guards being the future, or do you see that being a fad? Do you see leg locks being the future, or do you see that being a fad?
No, man. I feel like that's the same question you could have asked in 2012 with the Berimbolo Revolution. Berimbolo Revolution, that's cool. But yeah, I don't think so. It feels like a fad now, but I feel like it's going to stick by. That's one thing that you see in jiu-jitsu is that when something new comes up and it's working, more people are going to try it until they start developing their modifications of the technique, and you start opening a whole new universe kind of to jiu-jitsu. You have the bolo, you have the lapel, you have the 50-50, you have stand-up, you know. It's just a new door open to the possibility of jiu-jitsu. And jiu-jitsu is crazy. That's the beauty of jiu-jitsu. I feel like most people get into it because they see that. They're like, oh my God, there's so many options.
Yeah, the potential. It just keeps going.
Limitless.
And going.
Yeah.
Every role is kind of unique in that way. You just kind of...
Not every roll with you, Ed. Every roll
I do the
winds
same,
up the same
I do
exact
the same
way.
two moves, but Roberto, he's getting on your back 1,000 different ways.
I'm going to try to learn a lapel technique to get rid of that turtle guard.
You like the ones where you pick him up? You ever do that sit-up one? I love that one.
From north-south. Yeah.
I can't pick him up, though, when he turtles.
He's always got to make fat jokes on me.
Yeah. Yes, I do, Ed.
Why can't you be positive?
We've talked about this. I'm positive I want you to lose weight.
I'm trying to gain weight.
Me too.
You're trying to gain weight?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're trying to put on muscle. If you just want to gain weight, you can follow Ed around and eat what he eats.
Ice cream. Ice cream for breakfast.
Is that what you had today?
No, I didn't have any ice cream today. Okay, so we were talking about leg locks. This is one of the things we've been going back and forth on.
No, we're not talking about this today.
Come on,
okay,
please.
fine. No, I don't want to.
Heel hooks in the gi. Ooh. What do you think about this topic?
I think Jamie's episode really spoke on this well. You can go back and use it as a reference.
Man, heel hooks in the gi. I don't know, honestly. I really don't know. I feel like
All right, let's
it's
give
a submission, you know?
let's give us your argument. Go ahead, give me your argument why heel hooks should be not allowed.
Right now, heel hooks are not allowed in the gi in almost every competition. Okay? That's why I don't like heel hooks in the
So just
gi.
because it's a rule, they can't be changed?
Don't argue again. You just asked for my perspective.
But that's not a real
If
perspective.
you could do heel hooks in the gi in competitions, then I'm fine with them. But right now, no one's training to compete heel hooks in the gi. You're getting me worked up again.
True.
So you're saying if words on paper changed that allowed them, then you would do them?
Yes.
That's so silly.
Why is that silly?
Because Roberto's going to change the rules, and then you're just going to do them.
Yes.
All right, this is my argument for heel hooks in the gi. Specifically, in the past couple years, John Danaher has pushed the leg lock game.
Who?
John Danaher has pushed it. He's built a system. It's very safe now because the knowledge has increased. Everybody's doing it more. They're safer. I'm not saying white belts should be doing heel hooks in the gi, but I'm saying brown, black belt, it will open up. These 50-50 stalling positions will be opened up in the gi, and people are more knowledgeable, so it's less dangerous. The danger has been taken out a bit more. There's still a little bit of danger because you're twisting the knee, but you could argue a toe hold is just as dangerous if done the right way. You could turn the knee inside out.
Yeah, most definitely. Obviously, the heel hook is nothing to underestimate. It's definitely the strongest leg lock there is. It may be a little harder for most people to comprehend it and get it attached to their game, but man, when that bug sinks in, you're done for, you know. So it's the same thing in nogi. It's different because I'm sure there's positions you can get to where you can hold a lot tighter,
A little stickier because of the cloth.
a little stickier. I feel like maybe it is one of those things that can be left in the nogi. You know, I feel like gi.
Yes.
Don't look at me.
Roberto, he's wise beyond his
He also
years.
said that his perspective can change, so he is open-minded.
I didn't hear that part.
That is right.
I didn't hear that part. We're editing that part out.
Maybe not today, but as the leg lock game, it's not done evolving, for sure. As it evolves and gets safer and safer, maybe could a door be open to it eventually?
Maybe. Who
Okay,
knows?
that's all
Tell
I need.
Ed no.
I just need
Tell Ed no. We were teammates, Roberto.
Sorry, man. I'm free for my will.
All right, let's go. I want to play a little thought experiment with you. It's 10 years in the future. You just finished up winning double gold for the 10th year in a row.
Oof.
What is next? You won everything. You did it all in competition.
He won ADCC too?
He won it all.
I'm just making
ADCC,
sure.
You won every year. Absolutely, you did
Is
it all.
ACB back? Did he win that?
Yeah, you won ACB. The Gracie Challenge is back.
EBI.
EBI, all of them. What's next?
Man, when I'm done with my professional athlete career, I want to keep doing what I'm doing outside, but in a bigger way. I want to help the kids. I want to help the jiu-jitsu in Ecuador, and I want to help the jiu-jitsu from the places that I've been able to live. Vegas, Houston. I just want to help life with jiu-jitsu. I feel like that's one of the things I've looked forward to throughout my whole life. My grandma used to push out on me to be a plastic surgeon, but that's not something that I feel like
That's a lot of school you got to go to.
It's a lot of school, and it's a lot of intestines that I'm not willing to look at, you know? But I just want to help, man. I really do just want to help.
Is there stuff you want to do outside of jiu-jitsu, or is jiu-jitsu, in all things, it's going to be the path forward for you?
Man, jiu-jitsu has brought me everything that I wanted in life. So everything that I'm doing here now is probably going to be the same, but in a different way. It's all going to be with jiu-jitsu. I feel like I found really my purpose in life, and not only that, but I can feel that jiu-jitsu is the same way that Bob Marley got asked one time, how do you feel about your music? And he said, the music uses me. I feel like I feel that. I feel like I can be that essence in jiu-jitsu, where jiu-jitsu is using me for a different reason. I have a lot to learn, and I feel happy at the fact that I'm able to just give myself to a higher purpose and go with the flow in my life. You know, not go with the flow with everybody's flow, but just go with the flow of understanding that everything's going to be okay. Keep working hard. You know, don't let things for granted, but trust in God, trust in the universe, trust in whatever you want to believe in, but trust that there is something bigger than you that is willing to help you as long as you accept it. And when you feel that, I feel selfless. I feel like, honestly, I could die and I might leave a mark on this planet, or I might not, but I tried my best, and that's all I can give, my best.
I just want to say that I'm a little angry right now, specifically at jiu-jitsu, for not using me the same way it used Roberto.
No, it's because you're closed-minded, thick-headed. You're not listening to what it's telling you.
Do you always have to talk down on everyone?
Not everyone.
Are
just
you ever positive, Ed?
I'm positive. Everything he just said, I've been
Can't
trying
you
to get through
let
to
Roberto rub off on you a little bit?
you. What are you talking about? We're speaking the same language. He's telling you.
I definitely don't think you're speaking the same language.
As an example, in jiu-jitsu, when we roll with each other, it's like two pieces of plywood just rubbing up against each other. We are so stiff. There's no, you know how Bruce Lee says, be like water? No. We're like 2x4s bashing into each other.
We're gonna start a fire. Is that what you're saying?
You drop the cup and you're trying to put it back into place.
How can we be more like water? What advice can you give to us, lowly brown belts, to be less stiff and less? I think we care too much about that one position instead of going to another one, the least resistance.
I think Danaher said it. I don't care how strong you are, you're not that strong to hold a grip,
Well, I can hold it against him because he's super
that
weak.
strong.
Yeah, if he breaks my grip, it's because I let him.
I don't know if you remembered when we rolled, but yeah, I'm very weak. I'm gonna start lifting weights one day.
Yeah, man, that would help for sure. It's helping me.
You've been doing a lot of weight training?
Yeah, implementing weight training into my daily routine. Not daily, weekly routine, I would say, has helped me tremendously. I'm able to have a little more cardio. I feel my strength increasing, and I also feel like I'm able to hold on to different positions a little better just because of the strength training. My injuries feel like they're not bothering me at all. I feel like I'm not really injury prone as much as I was before. I hate weight training, but I do have to say that growing up in jiu-jitsu, my body has turning itself unnaturally for years. So I need to reinforce my muscles and my joints with strength training so that I'm not prone to injuries, and I can kind of try to fix a little bit of the damage that I've done throughout the years. Because jiu-jitsu, you are turning your joints to control somebody. That's not natural. It can be part of your life, but you also have to be aware to the fact that you might have some injuries if you don't take care of your health, through physical therapy, through stretching, through weightlifting, cardio.
Do you do any supplements?
Yeah, supplements too. I feel like you have to be aware of the supplements you take. I take a handful of supplements like a spirulina, chlorella. I'll take oregano oil in the morning. Some
oregano oil.
Yeah, it helps with the gut health.
Kyle's always pushing that on me.
Yeah. You take any probiotics, or is that use the oregano as the kind of?
Yeah. He just said he's drinking kombucha.
Oh, kombucha. Yeah.
Keep up, Ed.
All
Keep
right,
up.
Sorry, I'm used to eating Snicker bars and ice cream.
You getting probiotics from that?
And not so many, but you get some.
I've been taking this Stack Performer. It's like for your mental. Like, to boost your.
Obviously, it's not helping him at all.
I wish we could go right now.
We can go right now. I have a gi in the car.
No, you don't.
I know.
I like taking my supplements from Onnit. They have a good source. I'm not limited only to Onnit because they take over athlete performance. But then overall health, you can look at any company that you feel comfortable with. I like to look at. I'm sure that there's extremists in everything. And I feel like Dr. Sebi was an extremist in nutrition and understanding what is the truest source of energy that a human can take. He became vegan and he dwelled his life into that. So I look for him and advice. He's dead now. May his soul rest in peace. But he's a good source of information to learn about herbs, about roots, about vegetables and fruits that are more proactive to the body. And, you can take things with a grain of salt, and wherever you are in your life right now, you can always be a little better tomorrow. So try to take in whatever you can of your health into consideration. I was 13 when I started taking my health into consideration.
I still haven't taken my health into consideration.
There's still time for you, is what he just said, Ed.
Okay.
Yeah, everybody's on their own journey. Everything comes with their own time.
I got kids and I got lots of snacks in the house, and I just go crazy on these snacks. I can't help myself.
I know it's hard, man. I went through my little sister. I had to raise her.
The pirate's booty. I could eat a whole bag of that stuff.
Oh yeah.
You know what that is?
Yeah. I know.
After all the things you just said, I didn't think you would even know what that is.
No, you have to remember that. You can't remember because you didn't know, but I was a fat kid. I was real chubby when I came to the U.S.
Really?
Yeah, I went from eating real good food, like real organic, like fish straight from the ocean, rice straight from the rice fields, like really good food that you can tell the pictures when I was younger in Ecuador. I looked athletic little 8-year-old coming to the U.S. We started off with McDonald's, ramen cups. Our diet was ramen cups, McDonald's, Pop-Tarts, hot dog in a bread bun, and mac and cheese.
Yeah, all this stuff.
That was out of necessity.
Yeah.
Ed does it out of choice.
Well, that's one of the problems with the society right now is all the cheapest foods are the worst foods for you. And all the stuff, like the stuff you're talking about, a lot of it's shipped in and it's more expensive and stuff like that.
Yes.
So that's why, do you have your own kind of gardens that you like to do?
Yeah, we started planting a little garden at home. That's very important. Once my friend Dre, I met him in Kansas, but he's been following my journey since Texas. Man, he let me into his life, and on his Instagram you can see that he's growing plants out of everything he buys in the grocery stores. So you don't really need to buy seeds and all that. You can start with a source of water, anything to hold that water in, and onions grow out of themselves. Honestly, you can put garlic, onions, bean sprouts, anything that you can find easy to grow, and you can apply that to your diet. That's already a free source of energy for yourself. If you can keep adding to that, you can one day sustain yourself. And I feel like that should be a goal in people's lives, to be able to sustain yourself. Obviously, if you can be financially free, which is one thing, that's cool too. You don't have to really depend on anybody. You can decide what you want to do for your life. But to sustain yourself is another thing. We take that out of consideration when you're thinking about, I want to be free. I want to achieve financial freedom. But once you achieve that financial freedom, you're still tied down to the companies that feed you. What if you feed yourself?
Yeah, then you don't have to worry about pesticides and additives and stuff like that. So you really take that out of the consideration.
Exactly. And with what you said, I know it's hard to eat healthy, but it's possible.
No, I'm just a lazy person. I let the demons in my head, instead of meditating them away, I let them in, and they just take hold right in this fat belly of mine.
That's for you to deal with,
I got to deal with it.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But I mean, at 13, we were still climbing the ladder. I remember we were just around the food stamps. We were just touching food stamps, and we were able to use that. I think I helped my mom get motivated a little more too, because I brought it up to her like, man, I feel bad about myself. I don't feel so happy about the way that I look, and also I just don't feel happy overall. I don't like anything that I'm doing in life. It's like very deep at 13. I remember, this is personal, but I remember crying myself to sleep almost every other night because I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how to speak proper English. I didn't know how to play. I knew how to play with kids. That's all I knew. I knew how to play outside. That's all I knew. School I was losing what I knew from Ecuador. It wasn't applying anymore. So I had to actually learn, which is, I'm being the victim there. But I mean, I was just not happy. I feel like I left my life in Ecuador, and it took me a while to realize that it was just, like I said, your diet affects you overall. So I feel like it affected me mentally as well, what I was taking into my body. I saw how my body changed, and I saw how my mind changed. And when I started asking my mom, like, how can I eat better? How can I eat healthier? What's the better option that I can do to eat? I love food, but I also want to love myself. And I feel like when you love yourself, you're able to love others on a different level as well. So, I brought that to the table whenever I was a little younger, and we've been able to change the way we eat at home. Everybody has their own way of getting there, but overall, I'm happy that we made the transition from just accepting that we're going to eat food because it's yummy. No, you eat, obviously you want to eat good food. You want it to taste good, but you also want to feel good about the food that you're eating. And I'm happy that we can show that to my sister, who's 4 years old now. She says Coca-Cola is like poison. That's what she says. A 4-year-old telling you that Coca-Cola is like poison. And when we drive by McDonald's, she'll be like, no McDonald's. It's cool to see that we went from eating McDonald's on a daily basis when we came to the U.S. to now my sister, who's 4 years old. I'm so happy that she's able to have a different view on life and how she feeds herself as well. She and her whole generation of kids who are under 10 years old and such are the light of our future. And if we can give them a good view into the world and let them know that, you have a choice to pick what you want in life. And if you have the privilege to do that, take advantage of it. Unfortunately, not everybody has that privilege. So I think it's important to understand that you do have a privilege once you're able to choose the things that you want in life, and you're able to go anywhere without any problem. It is a privilege. I can say that I felt privileged when I was in Ecuador. I came to the U.S. and I felt lesser than myself, and that's a horrible feeling. I feel like my life has been a little roller coaster in the couple of 20 years that I've been here, but yeah, man, the kids are the future. We have to show them early on that they have the right to choose what they want out of life, and that they should choose the best options possible. That doesn't mean that it's the best option that this person thinks or that person thinks. You lay them out in front of them. You say, this is what you can do, and it's up to you to what really fulfills you. If you can give a kid a point of view on, like, look, you go this route, you might end up this way. You can get this, you can get that. You go this route, you might end up a little happier. You might end up a little more independent. You don't really have to answer to anyone, and if you do, it's somebody you care for. You're trying to work with them. It's somebody or something that you are working in the same direction for the same goals and the same dream. And if it's not that, then you can learn how to cooperate with that person or that system, whatever it might be. Not cooperate, but learn how to work with it and around it, I guess, because it is kind of a system. I've been able to see it affect my friends growing up, adults, and it's hard to say, but I think it's affecting everybody right now.
For sure.
The system of Babylon, in my opinion.
Yeah, so a lot of what you've been saying during this interview has come back to, you're trying to help the people around you. First, you have to help yourself. Then you advance to your family members. Now you're teaching them the right way to live. And now, as you have excess, instead of hoarding the excess and the greed that you talked about, you're trying to give that excess to the next person outside your circle. And slowly you're growing your circle. And I could see your future in the next 20 years as growing from this country to your home country to the country you've never been to. And I feel like if everybody kind of takes your stance, they might not be able to do it at the same scale you do, but if everybody does their little scale in their little family, it can grow the whole world together.
Exactly. Growing your little family, your little tribe within your little community goes a long way. It's better than just being by yourself and kind of accepting the way that things are. That's one of the beauties in jiu-jitsu. When you're able to open up an academy, you are able to see that you have a little community, you have a little tribe that you can depend on. They help you in the gym and outside of the gym. Everything that comes within the academies is hardship, and it's also beautiful at the same time. It's a family. It's a family outside of your family. And I don't see too many sports that give you, you say, this is my team, but can you really say that that's your family? Can you go and say that I have to ask for help for this guy because I don't know how to do this? And you have a different understanding of each other. When you roll with somebody, it's different. You're especially when you're in a small gym. I think when I grew up in Texas and we had our gym for the first time, it was different. I was able to make lifelong friendships. I was able to see how other people live from all aspects of life, not only mine. And it's just different. It's just a different sport, man. It has to be respected and it has to be taken care of.
Look at us right here. You're a world champion. We're a couple of schlubs. And we're having the opportunity to sit and talk with you. We've had the opportunity to train with you, and I just think that is something that's unique to jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, so we're about to wrap this up. Is there anything you want to plug, anything that you're trying to do in the future?
Right now, my main goal is to win these tournaments coming up for Third Coast throughout June and July, jet skiing as well. And those are my main goals right now. My energy is going all out into these events. Like I said, I don't feel like I'm fighting for myself anymore. I really don't care about what happens to me anymore. I want to care more about what I can do for the sport. And man, I hope I can win this. I know I can do something good with the proceeds. And also I can use that opportunity more than anything to win and to give more insight on this as well. I have the opportunity to talk to you guys. The podcast can reach a lot of people, and we can do the same thing. Every time I'm up there now, if I can get that win, when I get that win, I'm gonna give my best to shine light on the things that I think need some light to be shined on in our community. Because as beautiful it is, the jiu-jitsu, the art of jiu-jitsu, we have somewhat of a miseducated and honestly kind of ignorant community, which makes me sad. But at the same time, You can't just dwell on that. You have to fight for it. If you want to see change, do the change.
That's our motto. Be the change you want to see.
Yes, exactly. Be the change you
I
want to see.
don't know what you're laughing at. He's talking good stuff. Are you going to laugh at this?
I'm
This is
laughing at
important
you.
stuff?
No, Roberto is fantastic. I'm laughing at you. I'm waiting for you to be the change.
I have the hall pass.
I want to be Roberto. I want to do what he's doing. I want to eat good food and tap you out over and over again.
It's all up to you.
That's it.
You got nothing? You got nothing?
I got
Simple
nothing. No. I wasted all my good energy on you, Ed.
All right. Roberto, thanks again.
Thank you so much.
This has been fantastic.
Thank you guys. It was beautiful.
And there you have it. Another great episode with a fantastic guest. David, what did you think?
I just think that Roberto is a fantastic human being, a great competitor, and he's going to be a fantastic ambassador for the sport.
For sure. If we get more people of his generation jiu-jitsu that have his mindset, his mentality, his goals, I mean, the sky is the limit for Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
No, you
Ed.
can't say anything better
That
than me, but
was
say something.
fantastic. Have you been working on that?
I've been thinking about it all day.
While I'm hard at work, Ed is sitting at home writing a script for everything that he's going to say, but he doesn't bring it with him. He records it and plays it in his head so that he can remember when we get here to do this. So I look foolish and he seems prepared.
Yeah, all my recordings are at home by myself, and I just put them in after Dave says dumb stuff right now in person.
And I say dumb stuff every episode. I hope you enjoy.
So that's it for this episode. But coming up, what are we doing?
We are having our 10th episode, and you will have the pleasure. You have requested it.
Nobody requested it. Nobody
yes,
requested it.
No, I have had requests.
Dave has been begging me.
People have requested that we sit down together, just the two of us, again. Don't worry, it's not going to be like that forever, but we are giving the people what they've asked for, and we will just bash each other for an hour.
I hope they never ask for it again. I want to let everybody know. I'll give you just double down on this. We have guests lined up in the future. We have to squeeze this one in now before we get overrun with guests. Then I'll never want to do it.
We have some amazing guests lined up. I'm really looking forward to the growth of this podcast and to just expand this social network that we're building.
Yes, so let's give a thanks to our sponsor, Core BJJ. You could follow them at corebjjnj.com as well as corebjjnj on all social medias.
And for any potential sponsor out there, Ed can finally do reads, so just keep that in mind. We almost sound professional now. Reach out to us to thedeathpodcast@gmail.com if you're interested.
And that goes for all of our listeners as well. We love to hear feedback. Actually, Dave, didn't you have some feedback that you got from somebody we know personally?
We did. We got a 3-page email from someone that wishes to not be mentioned, but this email was fantastic. Feedback from the Emily episode, feedback from other episodes, questions for episodes to come, suggested guests, all kinds of information. It's greatly appreciated.
I mean, we can't really use any of it because it, it was all topics we talked about with Emily. We need her back to go over these.
Listen, not all of our listeners are smart.
Yeah, but we aren't either. So how do we talk about these smart topics by ourselves?
We have to get smart people on the podcast. Did you know any?
Well, I actually do. And they're lined up, but not for episode 10. So we will not be answering that email on episode 10. Sorry. What do we call them? What do we call them?
You know who you are.
He who must not be named.
No, I don't like that either.
That's from Harry Potter.
Higher Potter?
Higher Potter.
Surprisingly, I know what that is. So also, I wanted to wish Roberto good luck on his next competition.
Yes, we are now even more fanboys than we originally were after talking to him. I feel like we have built this connection. He actually was very generous. What did he do for you, David, right before we left?
He spoke with my son on FaceTime.
He definitely didn't have to do that, and he recommended him a great movie, which Dave already forgot the name of.
I sure did.
Spirited Away. So write that down. Have your son go watch it. It's a great movie. I haven't seen it, but I heard great things.
But that just is one more thing that goes to show the character of Roberto, and I couldn't be any more of a fan of somebody.
Absolutely. We'd also like to thank our musicians, Dennis and Rob, for the music.
Mostly Rob, because his is better.
All right. Well, that is it for us this week. Hopefully you guys tune in next week. Basically a recap on all the guests we've talked to and the future.
That's right. So once again, guys, hit us up, follow, like, and subscribe on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Everything is at To The Death Podcast, and email tothedeathpodcast@gmail.com.
And we are making an extra effort to kind of diversify our types of content. So on our YouTube, we actually put out a clip of a match I had when I was a white belt.
Nobody wants to see
They
this clip.
absolutely
Ed
want to
is
see it.
pushing this clip because it's the only thing good he's ever
It's
done
not about
in his
me
life.
in the match. It's about Yanni's reaction with the ref, and maybe other people have had experiences with the
I'm
ref.
sure they have.
Well, that's the whole point of watching the clip. So, until next time, this is To The Death Podcast.
Episode 9.